Oi, punters, this is Australia, a country where everyone is equal under the law. Huh? Sorry, unless you're a billionaire. Oi, don't get into the Christmas spirit too soon. I got one more scam that I need your help with. Now, I can't call it corruption, so I need your help. I'll tell you what's going on, and you tell me in the comments below whether you think it's blatant corruption or maybe just coincidence. Let's take a look. Oi, just a quick sub to the channel if you could. Cheers, punt. Oi, punters, the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office. Stay with me. I can see your eyes glazing as soon as I mention the ATO, but stay with me. The ATO has just cut a sweetheart deal for a billionaire. A sweetheart deal that you wouldn't get, and a sweetheart deal that I bloody wouldn't get. Here's what happened. You've probably never heard of this bloke here. This bloke here is a mining billionaire named Chris Ellison. Get a good look. That's what a $1 billion suit looks like. To be honest, not that impressed. Thought he could have done better. And he is the Minerals Resources Managing Director. Now, this bloke has just been busted for tax evasion. The most striking thing about the revelations of Western Australian mining billionaire Chris Ellison's tax evasion is not that he got away with it for more than a decade. So this bloke has been scamming you Aussie punts for 10 years. You have to pay taxes. I have to pay taxes. When some rich punt gets out of it, you're the one that misses out. You're the one that ends up having to pay more taxes because bludgers like this end up getting out of it. So yes, he got away with it for more than a decade, but it goes on. It's not that he continued doing it after the ATO wrote to him saying, we need to discuss your personal taxes. He went, oh, well, it can't be about the whole tax evasion thing I'm doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. Nice warning shot he got that he ignored. And it's not that the same firm that provided Ellison's personal tax services also acted as auditors for several of his companies, including Minerals Resources. So I'm going to pause here the tax evasion. What the hell does it mean? With the same firm that he pays to do his tax return also is the firm that the government uses to audit him. Here is exactly what I'm bloody talking about in a 1 and a bit minute reel. If we can just have your Cayman's company bill your Australian company for whatever, services, intellectual property, doesn't matter. Right. Then we can shift that $2 billion in profit you just made out of Australia and into the Caymans. But take note of that. That's called transfer pricing. Chris Ellison was bloody doing exactly that, except it might not have been the Caymans. I think it was the British Virgin Islands. But then it's going to look like I'm not making any profit here in Australia. Exactly. No profits, no taxes. Remind me, what's Australia's corporate tax rate again? 30%. And the Caymans? 0%. Genius. Thanks, PwC. Please. My job. Oi, PwC. Oh. Can you... Oh, is that Vodafone? They registered an income of $36 billion and paid zero in income tax. We're going to need to audit them. Yes, sir, right away. All right, Vodafone, I will be your auditor today. Let me pull your file. Here it is. I see you didn't make much profit this year. No taxes for a 10th year in a row. Really? Everything seems to be in order here. Hold on a minute. Government, yes. It seems like Vodafone here has been eligible for about $30 million in government grants. Oh. All right then. Thank you, PwC. Yeah, thank you, PwC. It's my job. Oi, this video is brought to you by Punters Politics. That's me. You can go to punterspolitics.com, pick yourself up, or a punter you know, a t-shirt for Christmas. Really helps support the channel. Cheers, punts. Back to it. So, PwC was doing his taxes and the MinRes taxes and also auditing them. So the government outsources auditing. This is what happens when governments say, we're going to save money and we're going to privatize everything. They take their, the job that the government would do, which is auditing people's taxes, and they go, PwC, you can do it. And apparently it's totally cool for the same company that does your taxes to be the same company that audits you. And what do you know? He gets away with tax evasion. Now, you tell me, punters, corruption or coincidence? Ellison and other senior executives used a company based in the British Virgin Islands to buy machinery, then on-sell it at a markup to Minres, dudding shareholders of $7 million. Now this is where it gets the attention. Normally when billionaires rip off the taxpayer, it goes unnoticed and they get away with it, like they do in this example. But it's when you start ripping off shareholders, that's when people kind of get in a little bit more trouble. This is what's called transfer pricing, but it looks like Ellison has cut himself in on a sweetheart deal. He's like, my company needs these machines and we got to get them from overseas. So what I'll do is I'll start a separate company of myself and it will be registered out of a literal tax haven. So then he would buy the machinery with his company, mark it up, and then sell it to Minerals Resources, skimming the prices. And him being the head of Minerals Resources, he is getting that company to buy machinery off himself at a markup. So do you think he's going to negotiate the best deal if his customer is his own personal piggy bank? If I was a shareholder, I'd be really, really pissed off with this bloke. This, just side note, is how billionaires become billionaires. They're not smarter than us. They're not better than us. They're not more innovative than us. They're just better at finding the largest pot of money they can, taking jobs where they're in control of that pot of money, and then siphoning the money off to themselves. Not a bastion of innovation. Well, I guess he's very innovative at evading taxes and dudding his own shareholders. So I guess. So yeah, the AFR broke this story, Neil Chenoweth. So props to this journo for bringing this about. The real catch, the real problem is the way the Australian Tax Office responded to this when it finally bloody came to light. After all this came to light, the ATO negotiated with this billionaire. They sent in a lawyer and old mate billionaire got an 80% deduction on the penalty for the underpayment. 80% deduction. What kind of negotiation? That lawyer earned every single penny. 80% discount. Not even Black Friday sales. I've found an 80% discount. But here's the real kicker. Ellison has potentially broken the law here. Now I say potentially and allegedly to hopefully not get sued by these powerful people. Because in Australia, defamation laws are really bad for wee punts. So anyway, allegedly, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading this article, come after them, not me. The ATO also assured them that they would not disclose any of these people that they just did the deal with to law enforcement agencies as well as federal government agencies. The agencies include, but not limited to, the Australian Securities Investment Commission, the Australian Federal Police, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. So in order to get 20% of what he owes, so here's the deal. The ATO said, just give us 20% of what you owe us, please, pretty please, and we won't pursue any criminal liabilities. Now, why would this bloke, why would he want expressly written in his deal, please don't refer me to the Australian Securities Commission or the Federal Police? Like, that doesn't scream of someone confident they haven't broken the law. But when you're a billionaire, you get to do whatever the F you want. And they also agreed to keep all of this secret from we punters. Now, the ATO, they say they need to keep these deals confidential for our own good, to make them better at their job so they can collect money from anyone who's bludging out on taxes. However, Andy Schmulo, an associate professor with the School of Law at Wollongong University, argues that the ATO's approach could actually encourage tax evaders. Now, you tell me, punters, who do you think's right? When the penalties for not paying the tax are less than the money saved by not paying it, would you pay the tax? No. If you save money by breaking the law and you don't get in trouble for it, well, just break the law because you save heaps of money. That's business 101. Here's the real rub, just as a contrast of what the ATO would normally do to an everyday punter. Have you ever heard of a music promoter named Glenn Wheatley? No, I hadn't either. Well, turns out that's this bloke here. That's Johnny Farnham. Him and Johnny Farnham were tight. Well, this old mate, Glenn Wheatley, was pleaded guilty to dodging $318,000 in tax, right? It's not nothing. Good if you can get it. Guess what happened to him? He was sentenced to 30 months in prison and served 10 months in jail. Almost a year in jail for $318,000 in tax dodging. Now, I'm still working out the numbers here, but old mate Ellison scammed the Aussie punters at least $3.7 million. So 318,000, 3.7 million. One goes to jail, the other gets an 80% discount on the fine. Now, the ATO seems very powerful when it's going after just us regular punts. All right, they can throw the book at us, they can garnish our wages, they can take money from our bank account, they can put us in prison. Yet when it comes to these blokes, they are so afraid of them. They are so afraid of their lawyers. They feel so weak and powerless that they will literally take 20 cents on the dollar and not press criminal charges just to take the 20 cents. So as far as I see it, there are two things going on. The ATO is, they say, underfunded, understaffed, probably deliberately so. And they are afraid and they are weak. So they go after the small fish that can't. We can't fight them. We don't have lawyers. We can't take them to court. The ATO is afraid of spending money and resources on that, so they go after the small fish and chase little people for not declaring your tax properly or missing a thing. Small business owners, they just hammer you while letting these blokes get away with literal tax evasion. So there's that element. But there's also this, and this is where we come to conspiracy or corruption. There's also the angle that these mining billionaires from MinRes, they own our government. They control our government. These billionaires own and control the Western Australian government. Why do we think that? I don't know. Maybe because the people we elect to serve us go and work for mining companies, BHP with a side hustle of minerals resources. The very ex-minister for the Liberal Party, an ambassador to minerals resources. The list of politicians working for mining companies, I've covered it before in other videos, but it is exhaustive. So you tell me, with government officials working at MinRes, is it any wonder that mining companies and billionaires, when they break the law, our government barely gives them a slap on the wrist. But when we punts break the law, we go to jail. If you want any more proof of this two-tiered system, how BS the lie is that we're all equal and the law applies equally, here is standing proof that it does not. So what's the takeaway at the end of the day? Yes, we know we're in a two-tiered system. Yes, we know that billionaires literally get away with crimes that you and I would be locked up for decades. That's clearly not in dispute. But a solid takeaway is this. When governments come to you and they say, there's too much government waste, we need to cut government funding, and the first thing that they go to cut are things like the Australian Tax Office and government agencies that enforce these laws, that only hurts we punters. When these agencies like the ATO are understaffed and underfunded, they go for the low-hanging fruit, and I hate to break it to you punters, we are the low-hanging fruit. Small business owners trying to juggle a million things and stuffing up their tax return. You're the one that's going to get hounded by this agency because they are too afraid and too under-resourced to go after the people who are really stealing the wealth from the Australian people. So just another out in the open, blatant, brazen scam I thought you should know about. Massive thanks to We the Punters over on Patreon. These are the punters that keep me making videos that I think are important and not just the ones that get the clicks. Punter tees are back online for Christmas, so jump onto punterspolitics.com. Pick a punter up a gift for Christmas. Really helps support the channel. Cheers, punts. Hit the like, subscribe, and bell, and I'll catch you punts in the next episode. Maybe got one or two before the end of the year. Cheers, punts.